We are going to be talking about some fine motor fun tonight. So here's what I have coming up for you. Um, Tennis balls, okay? These are the bomb for little kids, all right? Do you see my little tennis ball monster there? There he is. As I squeeze him, okay, his little mouth opens. Do you see that? Yes, this is a very, very old occupational therapy hack that people have been using to help people recover. Therapists have been using to help people recover after surgery to their hands or injuries to their hand. And so here's what we've done with this tennis ball here. So you can buy these in packs. So they come several in a pack. You can buy them at, a Target or a Walmart type place. And then you're going to cut without the kids anywhere near you, of course. I used a carpet knife right here, and I cut a little mouth to make my tennis ball man or monster, whatever you want to call him. You have to get it just right though, because if the mouth isn't big enough, then it's really hard to squeeze. And if the mouth is too big, he just kind of hangs his mouth open. So you don't want to do that. Hey, Massachusetts. So here we go. So with my tennis ball, okay, I have glued two wiggly eyes on. With my favorite glue, I'm sure you're all familiar with this glue, but it's the best glue ever. It's called E like Elephant 6000, and it glues anything to anything forever and ever. So you don't want to use that around the kids either. So you're going to prep your little tennis ball monster when there's no kids around. So you're going to cut his mouth open here, so that the kids can squeeze him and his mouth will open, and you're going to glue his little eyes on. If you think your kids might pick the eyes off, and that's normal, that's what kids do, right? That's their job. You could draw his eyes on with Sharpies and he will be just as fun and your kids will love him just as much. So you prep your little tennis ball monsters, and since they come in a pack, now this is a great small group activity, okay? So each kid in your small group gets one of these tennis ball monsters, and you can have them all practice, having them open and close the mouths. When they're doing that, they're exercising those muscles in their little hands that are necessary for holding writing tools later and for cutting and all kinds of skills that they're going to need in life, okay? So you can see how this is a great fine motor activity. Now, let's take this great fine motor activity and turn it into a fun math activity too. So each child has a tennis ball monster. And remember, if you're just joining us and you've missed the introduction to what this is and how to make it, that you can catch the replay. This replay will live right here on the Pre-K Pages Facebook page so that you can come back and watch it at any time, and you can also share it with your friends. Tag yourself, share, to your own page so that you can find it again. So this is the first part of what we're doing tonight. We're making these little tennis ball monsters for a small group math game. That's great fine motor practice. Then you're going to get yourself a nice cube that the kids can roll. This is a dice, and I love this one. This is one of my stranded on a desert island tools, I like to call it. And what that is, that means that if I was stranded on a desert island with a classroom full of little kids, just me and the kids, and I had to only have just a few things, what would I have? And if I just had to have a few things on that island with those little kids, I would have one of these cubes. And I love these cubes because they are indestructible, okay? They're squishy. Do you see how squishy they are? They can throw them in the air and catch them. They're nice and big. One thing we know about little kids is that they can't always roll a dice. Usually when you ask them to roll a dice, they do this. And it keeps landing on the same number. This is a new concept for most of them. So if they have something to grip in both hands, they can toss it a little bit, and then it's very easy to figure out which one is on top. If it hits you in the head, it doesn't hurt. Believe me, I've tried it. It does not hurt. So these are great because they're not just for math. Watch what happens. These are index cards. This is really high tech. And you can change out what goes into the pockets on the cube. So use your imagination. You can do anything with these cubes. Numbers, letters, shapes, colors, pictures of family members for little ones. I mean, anything at all. So I make mine into a dice, and then you can turn it in and use it for all kinds of games. But they're going to roll the dice, okay? I just got a 3, okay? And there's a link to these if you're wondering where I get these. This is one of my stranded on a desert island tools that I would take with me if I ever got stranded on an island with my class. And there's a link here in the broadcast where you can get them. And this is the little tennis ball monster. So now each kid has a tennis ball monster. They take turns rolling the dice, and I just rolled a 3. So let's pretend I'm one of the kids, and now I'm going to feed my tennis ball monster 3 of these chips. These are like counting chips, if you want to call them that. There's a link in the description above as well. So here's 3. 1, 2, and 3. Now my tennis ball monster is happy because he just ate 3 chips, okay? So how fun is that? So they take turns in your small group rolling the cube and feeding their tennis ball monster these little plastic chips. You could totally use something else, okay? You could use a little erasers, you know, you could use anything that's small you could fit into his mouth here, okay? So you don't have to use the chips. You can use whatever you want. You also don't have to use the pocket cube. You could use a foam dice like this. These are a little smaller, but they still work, and they're really sturdy as well, and they also don't hurt if they hit you in the head. They're pretty durable. So the kids take turns with their tennis ball monsters, rolling the dice and feeding it chips. So how fun is this game? Yes, I'm glad that you like it. I'm glad that you added it to your wish list. Yes, tennis balls could be on your wish list too, right? Yes, absolutely. This is a super fun game that your kids will love, and they're going to be getting fine motor practice. Oh, I know, I was going to say one-to-one correspondence and subitizing as well. So this is a powerhouse activity. So as your kids roll the dice, they're going to see the dots. Some of your kids will be able to subitize, and that means to instantly recognize how many without counting each one. And that's great. That will let you know where they're at developmentally in their stages of mathematical understanding and development. And then other kids, when they roll this and they get a 3, they might have to do 1, 2, 3. And hey, that's fine too. That tells you that that child is getting one-to-one correspondence, right? So that's a great way to get in some math skills. Subitizing, one-to-one correspondence. You've got fine motor with this. And then when they're putting the chips into the tennis ball monster's mouth, they're also practicing one-to-one correspondence. Each chip is 1, right? So this is great one-to-one correspondence. How do you prepare the tennis ball? So if you missed the first part of this broadcast, that's where I talked about how to prepare the tennis ball. So what you're going to want to do is come back and watch this on the replay. So as soon as I'm done broadcasting live, you can just start it over and watch it again. But it's a tennis ball. Its mouth is cut. It's very simple. There's also a link here in this broadcast in the area where it tells you that this broadcast is happening. And that's a link to the blog post I wrote about this several years ago. So all the directions that you need are also in that blog post if you would like to read that blog post as well. Yes, great for teaching colors as well. Absolutely, yes. Absolutely, great for teaching colors. You could use, now I know there's a company out there that sells these that it's like similar but very fancy, you know how some of those are, and it's a frog and they feed him little flies. That's cute too. You could get green, tennis balls come in different colors. You could get green ones. Wonderful. Oh, you have the conscious discipline dice. Yes, now you have some activities to go with it. And this activity is what I like to call evergreen. There is no season or holiday that it goes with. You can do this activity any old time. After you get your tennis balls, you can start doing this right away. So I hope that you like this idea and that you can take it back and use it in your classroom with your kids. If you teach older kids and they are getting ready to do simple addition and subtraction, you could also do something like that using this little tennis ball monster too, where they would have to add 2 small sums and put the quantity into the tennis ball monster's mouth. Now here's the most fun part of the activity. When the kids are done playing this game, the chips are all inside. And now you need to get the chips out because you're going to play this game with another small group. And here's the secret. I have big chunky adult fingers. They have little tiny curious fingers. So you tell the kids to empty out their little monster. And they absolutely love this part because as the chips, you can see it's hard for me to do, as the chips come out, they usually make a really fun little noise, like vomiting. Yes, they think that's fun. Yay! So they love to take the chips out and get the tennis ball monsters ready for the next group. And so you let them do that because it's more difficult for us adults to do it because we have adult fingers and they have curious little kid fingers. Yay, I'm so glad you can use this, Rachel. This was not my first live video. I do them every Monday and Thursday at 7 p.m. So stop on by, share the broadcast with your friends or to your own page so that you can remember. And I'll be here every Monday and Thursday night, hopefully. Unless something bad happens, like weather. We did have some bad weather earlier today, but it didn't affect us. So stop by every Monday and Thursday night at 7 p.m. and catch me live here doing these short little video tips that you can take back and use in your classroom right away. I hope you enjoyed this one. Leave me comments below. I love hearing where you're from, what you do, questions you might have, anything at all. I'm so glad that you're excited, Priscilla. I'm excited too. Thank you, Natasha. Thanks for stopping by. I will catch you again on Monday at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. That's right, Marsha. We do rock. Thanks a lot for watching. Have a great night, guys. Bye.